So you want to go tubeless with a new tire and your wheels, but you don't have a compressor. No worries, because today I'm going to show you how to install tubeless every single time with just a hand pump. That's right, we're not going to use a floor pump today. We're going to use a standard trail side hand pump. That way, if you ever get in a pinch out on the trail, you can reseat your tire in no time. So I've got a brand new Kenda Regolith 29-inch tire. This is the 2.4-inch wide. Let's go ahead and unfold this tire and then get the wheel ready, and we can start putting this on for the tubeless process. All right, now that we've got the tire open and ready, just check for the arrow of which direction to go. Now this part of the process is no different than a regular tubeless install or even an install with a tube. We're gonna go ahead and put both beads of the tire on, and then we're gonna move on to the next step. Now I've got a really cool tool that I've shown you guys before if you watch my videos. This is the tire glider. It's a super helpful tool to help put the bead on a tire. So now that the tire is actually seated to the rim, let's go ahead and pinch it all the way around. Get that bead all the way in the middle channel of your tire. Okay, now that you've pinched the tire all the way around and it's in the center channel of the wheel, we're gonna go to the next step. Just find your valve right here. Now this is kind of the weird step of doing this whole process. You're gonna need a standard tire lever, something just like this. Now if you look on your tire, there's gonna be a bump on the very far bottom of it that's called the bead of the tire, and it locks into the inside part of the rim. And what we wanna do is we wanna partially lock this onto the rim. And so starting a little bit behind your valve here, go ahead and take your tire lever and put it under the tire just like you were going to remove the tire, and then pull it out just a little bit to where the actual bead is kind of sitting like this, and then push it back in. And then you're gonna take your hand right here and you're gonna push down on the tire just like that. And then we're gonna start to go around the rim slowly, moving our hand, and you'll start to see this bead falls really close and basically seats in the rim. And that's what we wanna do. And we wanna do this halfway around the rim. And you'll notice your tire kind of start getting this weird, kind of like almost suction type shape. And that's normal, and it will get very difficult to actually push this bead in. But basically we're just trying to get the bead of the tire as close to the rim as possible. And this is where it starts to get pretty hard to do. Just take your time and just make sure that you're not pulling the bead off the rim. You want it to sit nicely next to the rim. So we know we've gone almost halfway around now, so I'm gonna try to go a little bit further, because the more that you can get seated, the better, I have found. Okay, that should be pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this out just a little bit, and I'm gonna push down with my hand and then pull out. And now you can see the bead is basically seated right here all the way along this side of the rim. And then up here it's not seated, and that's okay because it's seated all the way down here. Now that we've got one side halfway around the rim seated, let's go ahead and just kind of turn it around, go back up to the valve, and then we're going to do the exact same thing as far as we can on the rim this time. This one will get very, very difficult because the tire is going to be pretty stubborn with this one. But just make sure that it kind of seats along the rim. And again, you'll have that weird deformed tire looking thing, and then it's gonna get really hard to do here. That's probably good as I'm gonna get it. So we'll slide that out. Now the next thing we're gonna wanna do is remove the core. So once you've got the core removed, just set this aside pretty close to you because you're gonna need it here in just a minute. All right, we're gonna go ahead and see if we can air this thing up with this old Toe Peak hand pump. This is something that I've carried around for years. No longer carry this one around, but the nice part about this one is that it locks on like a traditional pump would. So we'll go ahead and just pop this on here and see if we can get this thing to air up. Now that we got the valve core out, it should allow a lot more air to actually flow through. So hopefully we'll get this. Looks like it's going. We have it, it's holding air. Give it a few more pumps here, then we'll check. See, oh, there we go. Got the first pop, so that's good. Another pop, it's seating. All right, that feels pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and grab our core and we're going to carefully take the pump off and put our finger over the valve hole. Don't wanna let all that air out in case it's not fully seated. We can go ahead and put our core back in quickly as possible. And then we can just take our hand pump and air it the rest of the way back up. Now that we know it's not gonna start to leak out if the pump comes off. So we'll pop our hand pump back on there. Definitely tiring doing this with the hand pump, but the fact that I put a brand new tire on the rim with a hand pump that you would have out on the trail is amazing. All right, let's take this off. Let's check to see, whenever you look at these tires, you're gonna wanna look around the outside. There's a little kind of bumped up piece of rubber that indicates whether or not it's seated. You should see that all the way around the rim, and if you do, then you know that it's seated, and you wanna check both sides. Looks like this one is good. Let's go ahead and check the tire pressure. I know that this is pretty low right now, but if you're out on the trail and you need to put your tire back on, pretty incredible that you can actually do this. So I've got 12 PSI in here from a hand pump, brand new tire on a rim, ready to go. Now I could just add sealant if I wanted to. Now that the bead is actually set, this tire shouldn't come off unless it gets pulled off. So there you go, that's how you seat a tubeless tire with just a basic pump. You don't even need a floor pump. I just showed you guys you can do this with a hand pump that you would take with you out on the trail. It's absolutely crazy. Super critical that you get the bead put on halfway on each side at least. The further you can get that bead put on, the easier this is actually gonna be. Pretty impressive. One other thing that you wanna make sure you do is try to make sure your tire and your rim is pretty clean, because the cleaner that is, the better it's gonna slide the tire on. But yeah, that worked really well. Proof that you don't need a compressor to go tubeless. Now, I will have to give credit where credit is due. I did not come up with this myself. I saw this on Sid and Mackey's YouTube channel. They were doing this with a regular floor pump, and I thought, I'm gonna try this with just a hand pump that you take with you on the trail, and sure enough, it worked. So awesome tips, Sid and Mackey. I really appreciate it. If you guys haven't subscribed to their channel, go check it out. It's super cool. If you guys found this video helpful and useful, click that subscribe button, click the like button, and leave me a comment below if you guys have done this before. But as always, we'll see you guys in the next one.